Hello everyone, here we have a Spectrum posting from Anna, February 16th. What happened to the atmospheric flight model shown at CitizenCon 2953? This was 2023. During the Taking Flight panel at CitizenCon 2023, the team showed off a generally cool atmospheric flight model with stalling and AFCS. Sadly, none of that work has made it into the game so far, which leads me to wonder, is this something that is still being planned, or is this something that has been scrapped? If it's still being planned, can we get an update on its status? Well, to be honest, this was just another faked video. There are lots of videos CRG is making just for CitizenCon and for their weekly shows, showing us things that are still not in the game, sometimes even 10 years later, and most likely won't be in the game ever. So why am I showing this? This is more than 1 week old. Because Yogi replied. Yogi clad yesterday, Lady Anna. What we have shown at CitizenCon 2023 was a so-called control surface model. This is not an isolated feature, but part of a much larger update to the flight model, which is currently ongoing. Translation: this was a faked video for CitizenCon 2023. We have no idea yet how to put this into the game. 2024 wasn't really a focus year for the flight model, but we started getting back to it directly after Xmas break. Okay, what have you done in 2024, Yogi? The Dark-Eyed Fox wrote, I don't need an ETA, but I need to know one thing. Does this enable controlled descent by the atmosphere if you get disabled? And Yogi replied, if it's just the thrusters that are failing, you can still glide, assuming the ship currently generates enough lift. The question is more if the flight computer AFCS core is online or not. If offline, no commands would be moved to the control surfaces. So you would still glide because the aerodynamics are still calculated, but you couldn't affect the path. If the flight computer is online, you can control your ship even without thrusters being online. Landing will be pretty hard though, but probably not impossible. Let's take a real-life example, an airliner where all hydraulics are gone. Big airliners have multiple independent hydraulic systems, but it has happened before that all three were gone. Add to this, no more engines, put this airplane into the air, no engines, no control surfaces. What would happen? You will fall down, you have no control at all. There's no way you can land this plane. This will be a crash and everyone on board will be dead. I have no idea why Yogi wrote he would still glide. Once again, Yogi has no idea about atmospheric flight. There are examples where real-life airliners landed just with engine thrust. It was of course a 2-engine airplane, but those are very rare. If you have no control surfaces plus no more engines, there's nothing you can do. Your spaceship or your airliner will just roll over and crash to the ground. By the way, where are parachutes? Where are ejection seats with retro thrusters for moons, planets without sufficient dense atmosphere? Where are escape pods? Still nowhere to be seen in year 13. McDonald Mouse wrote, Gladius, used in a new flight model at CitizenCon 2023, has movable flaps. Yogi replied, the flap movement itself is driven by the control surface code, but it's really just an animation. It theoretically could also be hooked up to a legacy aerodynamics system. If you want to have aerodynamic flight, movable control surfaces in a game, you need some very basic physics in this game. Games like DCS, games like flight simulators have this, but Star Citizen in year 13 still doesn't have even some very basic physics. The best we can hope in Star Citizen is those flaps, those control surfaces will just kinda move into the right direction when you are doing certain maneuvers, but it will look all very bad, very primitive. And here's the real reason I made this video. Gentleman's New yesterday on Spectrum. This is a very good posting, very direct, but I cannot agree more to this posting. Deploying an unfinished flight model that had a ton of backlash even while being tested in a year where it wasn't really a focus year for the flight model was a brazen and risky move by any metric. Master mode was a terrible idea, but CRG is doubling down on it. It's arcadey and gamey. Oh, you want to use your guns and have shields? Reduce your speed to SCM. It's not fun, it is slow. We are now trapped in combat, which quite often is just a DPS race. We will lose nav mode and nav speed soon. Master modes does not eliminate jousting, but makes it almost mandatory in fights to survive. And minor things like weapon groups are not saved when switching modes. Chris, master modes alone cost you millions of dollars. It's a terrible idea for a game. This is a space game, we are fighting in space. Ships should feel like we are in space, not like we are in atmosphere in World War II. Developing it in the darkness of Squadron 42 without community oversight, however, was the beginning of that disaster. You took what was already tried, cruise mode, and rehashed it in a vacuum, then tried to crawl it as an epiphany, and then jam it back into the game overnight. Yeah, we are in year 13 and CRG still has no idea how the flight model is supposed to be. My guess is CRG wants to reduce speeds even more, not because it's fun, it's not, but because CRG's ancient engine, CRG's terrible netcode, CRG's terrible servers cannot deal with spacefight at normal speeds. No, the truth is, you retread old ground that wasted 2 years of the community's time and money a decade ago, and now we are worse off than we were a year ago, and you burned another 2 years of development creating it again, but worse. And if that were not bad enough, and you were forced to admit, it had to change again. Yes, Yogi is still throwing things at the wall and check what sticks. All that was transmitted were confusing plans to remove the only part people accepted, nav mode, and double down on the part people hate the most, the slow speeds and forced flight profiles. Yeah, last year, CRG said they will remove nav speed, nav mode, which is a terrible idea. Now he has the confidence to come here and tell us you have been working in the dark again for 2 more months on yet another secret flight update and don't realize another massive backlash will follow. Chris, Yogi alone cost you millions of dollars. Many people and I stopped buying ships when we got the terrible master mode last year. What hubris not to realize if you have a flight model that is accepted, if not loved, for a decade and then throw it out, it might not be well received by some amount of backers. Yeah, again, master mode alone costs CRG millions of dollars. Because you, Yogi, became the face of this, so you must accept you are the villain for many of us now. And each time you try to assure us it will be fine while you tinker in the dark behind closed doors, we get angrier and more frustrated that you didn't seem to learn the lesson that some of the basic premises of the new model many backers simply do not want. One of the flight team members leaked there was dissent at CRG internally about master modes during an ISC SCL before it launched. So we know at least some devs hate it as much as we do and spoke about it, then fell in line. Yeah, Chris has surrounded himself with yes men. If you don't fall in line, if you don't agree with everything Chris wants, you better look for a new job right now, because you won't be at CRG much longer. I couldn't have said it any better. This posting is very, very good. Link to this is my first pinned comment below. CRG gave us master modes. It came out of the blue. There was no reason to change the flight model. CRG had some excuses like something was unbalanced, light fighter ruled. Yes, ship combat was not balanced. Ship combat is still not balanced. Just one example, you gave us medium fighters like Hornet Mark II, Super Hornet Mark II with more firepower than heavy fighters. How do you ever want to balance this? You cannot. You are destroying the little bit of balance your game ever had. Master modes is such a terrible idea for a space game. Master modes feels worse than World War II in atmosphere. But CRG is even doubling down. Next nav mode will go. Chris, do you enjoy getting less money? Do you enjoy losing millions of dollars just because of master modes? My guess again, CRG's ancient engine, CRG's terrible netcode, CRG's terrible servers, even after the first iteration of server meshing, cannot deal with spacefight at normal speeds. But you have to understand, Chris, you are digging your own grave. More and more people will stop giving you money. We want the old flight model back. We don't want master modes. It's a terrible idea for a space game. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Can you make it to the main elevator? Okay, let's try the big elevator. Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter. My Twitter account is Camural_SC.